Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Flynn and I am the owner and maker of Flynn Sisters Boutique. And today we're going to be using one of the blackest paints in the world on a tumbler. So we're using this acrylic paint that I got called Black 3.0, and they claim it is the blackest black acrylic paint that you can get. And it looks gorgeous on a tumbler, and I kind of wanted to do a more simple design so we can really put this black paint to the test and see if it really is that dark. So I love how this project turned out. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to have links for all the products that you see in this video listed down below in the description box. You might even find some discount codes for you there as well. So that's enough chit chat for me. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, so here we go. We're starting with a fully prepped and sanded cup as usual. I've got a 30-ounce camper mug that we're working with today, and I just want to put a really thin coat of flat black spray paint all over this cup just to make the paint process a little bit easier for me. Also, they recommended you doing a prime coat of paint before starting with this. So here's how your paint shows up. It comes in this super cool box, and then the paint is in this tube. It's very shishi, very fancy. And I made sure to read all of the directions. I was a little bit nervous about using this stuff because I've never used it before, but it's just like any other acrylic paint that we would work with. The finish on it is ultra matte black, and it is so dark. I was really taken aback by how much this paint actually like absorbs light. It's so beautiful. So to paint this on, you're gonna want to use a soft bristled brush, excuse me. If I could do this again, I wish I would have gotten a better brush. I was just kind of using an old one that I had around that has soft bristles, but definitely want to use a clean new brush for this. And I just put a like tablespoon amount on a paper plate here and then brushed it really smoothly all around our cup. You want to make sure that you're doing thin coats with this so you don't want to have any drips or clumps of paint. And then once we have this all painted, you want to let this dry for at least an hour to 2 hours before you go into a second coat. You want to make sure it's completely dry before you recoat it. I ended up coating this 3 times, so it took me quite a bit. I just would do a layer of paint and then let it dry. My garage is super warm right now, so it dried pretty quick. And you can feel when it's totally dry. But it definitely took a full 3 coats to get a solid coat on there. And you can definitely see the difference between just black spray paint and the paint. There is a really big difference, and it is so deep, so dark. Here we are putting that second coat of paint on. You can definitely tell that it needed more coats after that first coat of paint. And then after I was done painting this, after the third coat, I did let it sit overnight. So definitely want to let it fully dry for 10 to 12 hours just to be on the safe side. That might be a little overkill, but you can never be too careful. So I just want to show you guys what this really looks like before we put epoxy on. Like, look at that stunning black color. I absolutely love it. I kept putting different black things next to it just to see how dark it actually was. But it's just beautiful. I've got 30 milliliters of epoxy that I'm going to put over this, and you can just epoxy right over the paint. I did get some bubbles and some off-gassing with mine. I don't know if that's because I was using a fast set epoxy. This is just Alumilite's quick coat epoxy. But I also don't think that you really need to seal it. So I don't know if the bubbles could have been caused by my epoxy being temperamental that day or what it was, but it wasn't fish-eyeing, so that would indicate to me that I didn't really need to seal it. But just kind of a heads up there. Let me know what your guys' experience is with this if you end up getting the paint, if you have the same problem as well. But I'm just gonna coat this like I would any other tumbler, and it came out pretty nice. Right, and then I let this dry for a little over 5 hours, and I was ready to start on my decals. So I'm gonna show you guys how I designed the decals for this in Cricut Design Space. All right, so we're gonna start with the file that we just purchased on Etsy. Now, this file is formatted to fit a cup that is tapered and 22 ounces. However, we're using a cup that is not tapered and is 30 ounces. So I'm gonna show you how to edit this file so that we can wrap it around the cup really easily. So when you open the file in Cricut Design Space, this is what it's going to look like. The first thing that we're gonna do is ungroup the file. So this just separates all the different elements in this image. I'm going to first select this outline that it comes with. We're going to delete that, and we're going to insert our own outline. So we're going to go to shapes. We're going to insert a square, and we're going to resize that square to the same height and width of our cup. So I've already measured around, and I measured up and down. So the height of your square will be the height of your cup, and the width of your square will be the width around your cup. So in this case, we have 11 inches by 8 inches, and this is not a tapered cup, so it's completely straight. So this is gonna make our lives way easier. I'm gonna unlock the proportions on this shape, and we're gonna set the width to 11 inches and the height to 8 inches. Then I'm going to make my square white so I could see through it, and then we're going to right click on the square and send it back. The purpose of this square is to act as a template for us to map out where we're going to reposition our images so that they're going to fit around the cup really nicely. So now that I have my roadmap there, I can see where everything needs to go. So the first thing that we need to do is kind of resize some of these things. I'm going to resize the fishies just a little bit, just so they take up a little more space on our spot here. And then I'm going to ungroup the fishies. And then I'm just going to kind of rearrange them and rotate them within our square here so that they make more sense to fit this new space that we're creating. And just kind of play around with it until things look good. Resize the center one a little bit. Okay, so now that I've resized and moved around the fishies, I'm going to start on the constellation pieces. So these are all one piece, so we're going to select them and hit ungroup. And then we're going to move those around. Again, resize as needed. Don't worry yet about the stars in the background. We'll take care of those in a minute. Actually, I think I want to move this one down here. Move this one around a little bit. All right, and then we're going to select the stars now. The stars are all one piece and they cannot be regrouped. So I'm going to unlock the proportions on that. And I'm just going to kind of resize those until they make sense and fit the space a little more. I might have to contour some of them that overlap in some of our images. Oh, I see a triangle that I missed here. Move that triangle over somewhere else. Okay, and so I pretty much like what I've got going on here. I'm going to select the stars now, and I'm going to try to take note of where they're positioned, and I'm going to contour some of them. so that they are out of the way or not overlapping with some of my more important images. It's kind of hard to tell where they're at. But just do your best with that. You may have to go in a couple times like I'm doing here. All right, so this looks good to me. I'm now ready to cut this out of my vinyl. So we're just going to send this to our cutter, but first, oh, I forgot. We're gonna delete, oops. We're going to delete that square that we made because we do not need that square. So I am going to find my square that I made. I'm going to select it and delete it. And then we're going to hit select all or Control A on our keyboard. And we're going to attach all this. We want to make sure that this all cuts in one piece. Now, obviously, if you wanted to make these like a bunch of different colors, you certainly could do that. But once we hit Control A and attach, that's it. We're ready to go. That's the final version of what we're going to do, because once we hit attach, we would have to detach everything to move it around again. Okay, so now I'm ready to send it to my cutter. I'm going to get this cut and weeded with my vinyl, and then I will show you how I apply it onto the cup. Hey guys, so here is my vinyl all cut and weeded. It's so beautiful. You'll notice that my cup has been sanded. That's because the first time I tried to transfer this decal, I tried to do it all at once, and I messed up a lot of things. I messed up on weeding it. I messed up on transferring it. I was using a different vinyl at first, and that vinyl was just a little too thin for what we're trying to do here. So this cotton candy vinyl from the Vinyl People worked perfectly the second time around. It weeded beautifully. I also learned the second time around that it was easier for me to transfer this in chunks than trying to transfer this type of image in one large sheet like I had initially planned on. Okay, so lesson learned. I wasted about an hour trying to figure this out and to get it right, but I absolutely love how it ended up coming together, and I love this vinyl so much more for this project. It was just made for this design. So anyway, I'm just, again, transferring it in chunks. I'm using my favorite transfer tape. And I've gotten a few comments from you guys that you have gotten this transfer tape and you're having a hard time getting it to stick to your vinyl. So you'll notice when I use this transfer tape that I don't pull up on the tape, rather I peel back with the paper with the image face down. It works really well for me. I've been using this transfer tape for almost 3 years now, and it's just my absolute favorite. So anyhow, we're just going to finish going all the way around the cup in chunks like you see here. And I found it really helpful to have our original canvas up on Cricut Design Space on my computer screen so I can make sure I'm placing everything correctly. The first time around, I transferred everything upside down. And I am not really familiar with Zodiac symbols, so I didn't even realize it was upside down until I looked back at my screen and realized that I had completely flipped the image. So learn from my mistakes, make sure that you're placing it in the right way and all of that. But anyway, once we are done here, we are going to move on to sealing our vinyl. All right, so you guys know the drill. We have some quick coat here from counterculturediy.com. water-based urethane sealer. I'm going to apply this all over my cup to seal in my vinyl, as well as seal in any kind of surface contaminants that might cause drama for me in my final coat of epoxy. I let this dry for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then we were ready to move on to our final coats. All right, and so for my final coat, I've got 30 milliliters of epoxy mixed here, and I'm just gonna apply it like I normally would. And then I let this dry for 4 to 6 hours, and then I immediately went into a second final coat. I could tell just by looking at it that it wasn't like totally smooth yet, so I just went directly into that second coat. I didn't have to sand or anything like that, and we were good to go. The second coat took about 8 to 12 hours to dry, and then we were done. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had fun seeing how cool that paint looks on a tumbler. I have to say, this is definitely the deepest black that I've ever gotten on one of my cups, and I think that it makes this like holographic vinyl just totally pop and sets it off. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys end up getting this paint, I want to see your projects. Let me see it. Thank you so much for watching my video, and we'll see you soon. And a big thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.